And the NFL does that. They preprint stuff. They just throw it away, but I found it.
Look at that.
And kept it.
Wow.
I'll bring it in next time.
Well, for those just tuning in, we have to say a Merry Christmas Eve morning. Quite the Lions game day that we are getting ourselves into here. A lot on the line. And we're going to get right into this breakdown of this matchup. First of all, I have to ask the age-old question. Is there an asterisk next to this win because of the Vikings' current quarterback situation?
No.
Okay.
You're not putting an asterisk, are you, Terry? This
I
is the
never
NFL.
do. It's the NFL, right?
Yeah. This is week 16. Not every team, but most teams, many teams are going through injury issues. It just happens to be a quarterback issue in Minnesota, and they're going with Nick Mullins over Josh Dobbs, over Jaren Hall. It's one of those things. After Kirk Cousins went down with an Achilles injury, a lot of people counted this Minnesota Vikings team out. But Josh Dobbs, in the trade deadline acquisition, he sort of resparked this team. And although he's not the starting quarterback today, and he lost his starting job, Nick Mullins is stepping in, and he is a gunslinger. I'm not going to say he's some top of the line quarterback in the league, but he's the most like Kirk Cousins, so he fits that offense that they've built. And Justin Jefferson, he's one who wants the ball. Jordan Addison, wide receiver, has had a really good season. So Nick Mullins he's going to be fine filling in. That's not something to overlook if you're the Lions.
And the dangerous thing about Jordan Addison is he scores.
Yes.
He's almost always in the end zone, so you got to watch out for that. But this is a game the Lions have to win, or else. Now I tell you how this whole town explodes after critical Lion losses. This will be one of those games, because if the Lions lose today, our little fan base who's always want to get rid of Jared Goff and fire Aaron Glenn and think Dan Campbell's a boob whenever they lose, they're gonna go nuts this game. The reason is because if they lose the Minnesota game, that means they're going to go to Dallas, where these people say they're going to lose, which they probably will lose that game. And then they said they're going to come back for a winner-take-all game against Minnesota at Ford Field.
Yeah.
Looking back, that's the kind of game the Lions choke on. So this is one of those red-letter games for Lion fans to not go ballistic again. Like we did last time, the last loss. People went nuts. And we'll get rid of Aaron Glenn, get rid of Jared Goff. He's got a noodle arm. Oh, geez. Maybe somebody said that on this show.
I think so. Is he wearing a red hat?
It's a little flutter passes.
It's true, though. If somehow Minnesota sneaks out a win here, then, the Lions are looking at a very good Dallas team in Dallas, and then, again, a rematch with the team, and it's hard to beat a team twice. It's hard to lose. You don't want to see the Minnesota Vikings for the division in Week 18. You just want to avoid. You got to go take care of business in Minnesota today. Steal that NFC North title right out of US Bank Stadium. Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
The banker. Prove that you belong.
Yeah.
Prove that you're just not another solid little ball club. Prove that you knock the door down. Prove that you belong. And you know what? Hey, I'll say Minnesota's not that good. They're a solid little ball club. They're cute. Even last year when they won the division, people didn't think they were that good. And, of course, they proved it by losing the first round of the playoffs. But what you do, I know winning on the road is tougher than at home. But still, you still have that running game. You still have Sam Laporta. You still have Amon-Ra St. Brown. And you have Jared Goff in the dome.
So what about Jamison Williams, your boy J-Mo?
Hey, look, I don't trust them to do the right thing 2 weeks in a row with J-Mo.
Really? Well, hopefully they prove it wrong to you.
Well, do it.
Yeah.
If they do that, then they will have no problems with Minnesota.
Yeah.
They target. I'm not gonna go the number that I want, but it's compromise. They target him 7 or 8 times. They'll win this game guaranteed.
Absolutely love that. Well, that leads me right into my next question is, what player are you looking for to stand out most in this game for the Lions to get a win?
Your boy, Sam Laporta. I don't think Minnesota can cover him. I think he's going to have a good game. And you know what? Every time we do our player of the game thing, he's up there. I mean, this is a guy that I've been reluctant to say that he's going to be like player of the year, only because he's a rookie. And I figure rookies, you had a nice game last time, but you'll disappear this game. This man is a major player.
Never goes away.
Yeah, he's not going away. Forever. Ever.
I also think the stakes are a little bit higher, and it could mean a lot to the Lions fans if he can go in there and Sam Laporta could outshine TJ Hawkinson.
Oh, my word.
I think Lions fans would lose it. More about that. Maybe even more than them winning this game, because it just means that much with that TJ Hawkinson trade, with him getting that massive contract from the Vikings that I feel like so many Lions fans are doubting if they were going to even do that. But with that trade and with some of the business that Brad Holmes has done with the Vikings, the Lions have gotten a lot in return. So I think we're all okay with that trade. What do you say?
Yeah, I'm cool with it. It seems like Brad Holmes, and I'll give my player expectations in a second, but it seems like Brad Holmes has been taking the Minnesota GM. Let me make sure I pronounce his name right. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. He's putting on a masterclass, and he's using the Minnesota Vikings as his dummy. It's the trade back in 2022. They traded picks 32, 34, and 66 for the Vikings pick 12 and 46, which they turned into Jamison Williams and Josh Pascal. The Vikings ended up getting Lewis C, and they traded number 34. There were a lot of trades that went in, but it really hasn't turned out too much for the Vikings.
Yeah.
You pair that with that TJ Hawkinson trade. We got a couple more draft picks back. Again, it's a multitude of trades, and were involved in this draft pick, but they ended up getting Broderick Martin, Hendon Hooker, and Antoine Green, all involving picks that came from Minnesota. So to see what Brad Holmes has been able to pull out of the Minnesota Vikings, 2 to 3 draft picks, while giving them TJ Hawkinson, it's been pretty special. And that doesn't
still
even
more
include,
to come, right?
Still more to come. They got another 2024 draft pick and 2025. I forget which round, third or fourth. But then you just pair that with the Sam Laporta draft pick. It puts it over the top. I think Lions fans, I think the Lions organization is happy with where they ended up.
No doubt.
Well, since this is the holiday season, I'm going to put into a holiday package for you.
Okay.
What Brad Holmes has been able to do is he is shopping at Nordstrom, but he's paying Walmart prices.
Oh, love that.
How long can he do that? Because at some point, players are going to say, hey, bro, I'm going to get paid. I don't know what you're talking about. But he's been able to get away with it, prove it contracts, and he's bringing in guys who are like maybe have like a chip on their shoulder or somebody doesn't believe in them. And the Lions are not fully engaged. Like T.J. Hawkinson, he would have been fine here. But he wanted that money. He wanted that contract. At some point, Sam Laporta is going to want to get paid. So how's he going to treat that?
Talk about guys with a chip on their shoulder or teams that counted them out. Jared Goff, he's my player today. I'm going right for the quarterback because with Brian Flores, the defensive coordinator for the Vikings, they run so many creative blitzes. They try to mess with the opposing quarterback, rushing 3 and rushing 6. They lead the NFL in most 6-man rushes and 3-man rushes. So they live on both ends of the extreme. They're trying to confuse Jared Goff. So it doesn't even need to be a huge day for Goff through the air. It's just he needs to make these reads quick. He needs to get the ball out to Sam Laporta, to Amon-Ra St. Brown, maybe even Gibbs or Jamo or Khalif Raymond. Just a quick release out of the backfield so that when that blitz comes, those guys have a lot of open field. Or if they're sending 3, which they do often, and that's where Danielle Hunter, their star defensive end, that's where he's actually gotten almost half of his sacks, rushing 3. Goff actually needs to hang on to the ball as long as possible, let those routes develop, and then hit his receivers with less secondary coverage out there on them. That's when Goff needs to hit his receivers. So it's going to be a big game pre-snap for Jared Goff, trying to recognize what the Minnesota defense is doing, and then it's time for his playmakers to perform. But they got that offensive line healthy today. So that bodes well for the Lions, as we've seen.
Right, but what's the Achilles heels of blitzes? The screen pass.
Yeah.
I mean, we may see Gibbs and Jamo and a whole bunch of folks on, just coming out the backfield and doing a little wide receiver screens or something. So that can mess with the Minnesota Vikings defense. And one other thing. The Lions are always, we're going to do what the defense gives us. No. Make them adjust to you.
Yes.
That's the difference between this team and Lions teams of the past.
You know who I'm looking for to have a big game?
Who?
Cam Sutton.
I like that.
Please.
Let's go, Gabby.
Please. Like, he has been, I feel like, over the last couple of games on a slow upward trajectory, and I feel like this is the game where you prove it, because they do a lot of work that is going to need the Lions secondary to step up, and he's that leading guy that needs to step up, and people have been waiting for him to do that all season and have like a breakout game. So he's my player that I'm hoping will stand out most from this Lions game today. Really?
I'm just going to come out and say it.
Terry agreed with me?
Yeah.
Whoa.
But I think Cam Sutton, man, is a bad man.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's one of those guys that can really. No, I don't believe in cover corners in the NFL because of the rules and everything. But he is as close to a cover corner as you can get for the Detroit Lions.
Definitely. And he's been playing well. He locked up Cortland Sutton last week. I think he's only given up 2 receptions when he's been targeted in the last 3 weeks. Cam Sutton's that guy, and it just makes it even easier. Last week against the Broncos, that defensive line got a lot of pressure. Actually, not just the defensive line, the secondary too. Whether it was Dorsey, Vindel, Kindle Vildor, or Ife Melifonwu, they put a lot of pressure on. That made it easy for the defensive backs. Not easy, easier for the defensive backs. And they're going to need that pressure with Addison and Justin Jefferson. That's gotta be there for Cam Sutton to have his best game.
Absolutely. And Gabby, how does it feel to be praised and not cheat?
I mean, man, what a Christmas Eve morning. That's all I asked for Christmas.
That's your Christmas present, so don't ask me for anything else. I didn't hear mention 8 people that has to play well.
No. I picked one.
Cam.
That's it. Throw it out there. You know, I did dabble in picking maybe the offensive line, but I said, you know what? I'm not going to cheat today. I'm going to give everyone a Christmas gift and just choose one player.
I love you today, and the only problem we're going to have the rest of the show is I may come up there and steal that jacket. That's the only problem.
Stick with us here. See if Terry steals my jacket. In the next segment, we'll be right back to get into the matchups for today.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel. Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
Morning, Woodward Sports. We are back. We are Woodward and Main Street here to kick off your Christmas Eve morning. Merry Lions game day to everyone out there. It is a big Christmas Eve for the Lions.
They have a chance to win the NFC North. They have a chance to clinch it today. What a day.
There's a lot on the line.
There's a lot. I'm sure there's a lot of Lions fans from current, future, past Lions fans that are excited for today.
No doubt. Are you excited for today, Terry? I know you don't classify yourself as a Lions fan, but
Lions fans.
I like the NFL, and I think if the Lions are a real team, they should win today. It's going to be a struggle. I'm not saying it's going to be easy and everything, but you should beat the Minnesota Vikings, and I don't even know who they have at quarterback. Whoever the quarterback is.
They're throwing everything the Lions' way because they're also showing out with their all-whites today. Ooh. The Minnesota Vikings will be wearing all-whites, and I think there has also been a call to the fans to wear all-white in the stadium today, trying to make it a white Christmas out there, even though they have the dome, which will stop there from being snow on the field. But Matt made a great point before the show. How have the Lions performed against teams that have tried to bust out some fancy uniforms this season?
I think about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game wearing the creamsicle uniforms. Lions went in there and curb stomped the Bucs earlier in the season. So
On the road,
hoping a little bit of the same.
This Minnesota and all whites does not scare me.
No.
Now, because they're in a dome. Now, if they were outside blowing the horn and it's snowing and everything, I'd be petrified because the Lion players wouldn't be able to find them. They camouflage themselves in the snow, and probably Minnesota would win the game.
I mean, that's a great point. Didn't even think about that, the camouflage aspect of it. What we have to get into, though, is the matchups on the field, on the sidelines today. We got to kick it off talking about Ben Johnson and Brian Flores, because you have arguably the hottest talked about offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator going up against each other in this game. Is it a toss-up who will be able to outperform the other, or are you 100% locking in with Ben Johnson?
I have a lot of thoughts, Terry. I'm interested in what you have to say.
I would not lock up anybody in this one, because Flores, he should be a head coach right now.
Yeah.
And but what happened with him? So this is going to be a great man. Now, obviously, because Ben Johnson, we're here in Detroit. Most people say, "Well, Ben Johnson is the guy, and he's going to outdo Flores." But I'm not so sure about that. This is going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
But bottom line, who's got the better players?
That's true. I mean, the Lions do, but Brian Flores, he like a lot of Lions fans have maybe hoped to see out of Aaron Glenn. Brian Flores has sort of made he's made more out of a lesser roster than maybe they should. They're overperforming. He's doing that by creating mismatch, having a creative game plan, and then being one of the most aggressive defensive coordinators in the league. He blitzes a lot. He tries to disguise his coverages a lot, like we were talking about in that first segment. The Vikings lead the league in rushing 3 and dropping 8 back, but also rushing 6, bringing almost the house. So his goal is to try to keep Jared Goff, try to keep Ben Johnson off balance. In return, Ben Johnson has to use those weapons, those blitz answers, Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown, the guys he can quick release to just get the ball out and keep the chains moving. And then they'll pick their moments when the Vikings least expect, or maybe they're bringing the pressure. That's when we maybe go to that screen pass that Terry was talking about, or a quick pass to a J-Mo or Khalif Raymond, something where a big play could happen. Big plays are something Minnesota hasn't given up a lot this year. I don't think they've given up a run, more than one run over 20 yards. So they're a talented defense. The Lions Ben Johnson has to find a way to stay one step ahead of Brian Flores. Otherwise, that chess match is not going to go so well for Ben.
Yeah, but maybe this is going to be a guessing game. That, okay, it looks like they're going to blitz 7, and maybe they won't. But what offensive play do you have to counteract that?
Yeah.
And you may not know if it's the right play until you actually run it. So, yes, Minnesota's going to be playing games, and the Lions are going to have to try to guess what's actually coming our way, and hopefully that play works that we called.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot. I like to think of this a lot like a pitcher and a hitter matchup in baseball, and I've used that analogy before when talking about Gibbs and Montgomery, their change of speeds, and how just mismatching the timing for a defensive player coming up to make a tackle, having to tackle David Montgomery, who's shifty but also strong and wants to run right through you, versus Jahmyr Gibbs, who can explode because of his agility at any given way. But this defense too, I think about in a similar way. Brian Flores is trying to use those blitzes to speed up Jared Goff, to speed up Ben Johnson, try to get like their bat speed a little ahead of them. What Ben Johnson and Jared Goff need to do, they need to wait and pick their spots, whether they're looking for that fastball or waiting for the changeup. When they bring 3 people, that's the time for Jared Goff to take a shot downfield, or whatever the case may be. It's Brian Flores' way of throwing the timing off of Goff and Ben Johnson, and that's his way of staying one step ahead of the hitter, of the offensive coordinator.
That's what has to happen, because we saw what happens when they the offense goes on the defense.
Yes.
We saw that in the Ravens game. We saw how they were a step behind, how they couldn't get back in front of that Ravens defense. And this is the opportunity to show that they have had growth from that game. So I think staying ahead for the Lions and for Ben Johnson to be ahead of Brian Flores from the start is going to be key. And do not let the Vikings take the ball first and run it down the field. I know that's not up to Ben Johnson, but I just have to say that can't happen.
Yeah, you mean like right off the kickoff?
No.
Yeah. No, that's something they took away last week against the Broncos. They asked for the ball. They wanted to put their offense out in the field. And although they didn't score that opening play, they punted the first 3 possessions.
No, brother. They didn't want their offense on the field first.
All right.
They didn't want their defense on the field first.
There you go.
That may or may not be true.
No, that's exactly true.
Maybe this is how Dan Campbell pitched it to them in the huddle. I want my offense out there.
Hey, I told you Dan
Always
Campbell's a bullshitter.
Mm-hmm.
He came out and said, "Oh no, we want our offense to get going and want it on the field first." No, brother, you didn't want that porous ass defense on the field first.
Unfortunately, we saw as soon as Denver came out, the very first play was a 40 or 50-yard play to Jerry Jeudy. That's what's been happening when the opposing team's taking the ball first. So you're right, Terry.
Let's talk about the Vikings defense.
Yes.
Ivan Pace Jr.
I love this guy.
Undrafted rookie who has joined the Vikings, and who I want to put him up against and do a little comparison here is against Jack Campbell, Lions' first-round pick. Looking at both of their performances, are you disappointed in where Jack Campbell is currently in comparison to Ivan Pace Jr.?
No, you got.
No, I was gonna say no, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'll go quick. I'm not disappointed yet. I'm more pleasantly surprised, or I should say, I'm impressed. There's the word. I'm impressed with Ivan Pace Jr. He was someone I remember thinking maybe this is a target the Lions or some team will take in the middle of the draft, middle rounds. But no, he he was an undrafted free agent rookie, signed, and now he's stepping up into a starting role for Minnesota with their starting linebacker Jordan Hicks out. He actually might return today, but he's been out, and Ivan Pace has really stepped up. He was overlooked. He's about 5'10", but he's 230 pounds. Overlooked in the draft because of his size, but he's been a huge reason why Brian Flores has been able to scheme up this defense in such creative, aggressive ways, because Ivan Pace can play. He's really good in both the run and in coverage, and he's just mentally ahead a lot of rookies, especially the linebacker position. So although Jack Campbell has a few more tackles than him, Ivan Pace has probably been playing like the best rookie linebacker in the NFC North up to this point.
Yeah, but you know what? Pace may not be that good in another system. And I think one thing that coaches forget is, I know you want to show everybody how smart you are and how you can come up with different schemes. Sometimes you just need to tell a brother, just go play. And that's probably what's happened with Pace. Go play. I'm going to free you up. Don't think. We're going to be aggressive. And for a defender, that's the sweetest music they like to hear. We're going to be aggressive.
Yeah. It allows them to play free. It allows them to just run, play fast and free, like Anzalone was talking about a couple weeks ago.
Well, maybe the Lions will see this approach over this last week as they have been preparing, and maybe they'll just say, Campbell, fly. Not in the same way as J-Mo, but fly.
I don't know if Campbell can fly, though. Maybe he can.
Jack Campbell, he's
maybe give him the opportunity to.
He's an underrated
let it loose
athlete.
a little bit.
I mean, he can play sideline to sideline. There are some games, and it might not be today's game because Ty Chandler is a little more the Minnesota Vikings running back who's likely starting today. He likes to live outside the hashes, but Jack Campbell, he can run. Where was I going with that? He can run sideline to sideline, but there's times he's a traditional downhill linebacker who's been a big reason why the Lions have been so good stopping the run. Ivan Pace as well, but both this Minnesota and Lions team, their defenses have been very, very strong at stopping the run. Something that the OCs are going to have to counteract also.
And young Gabby, maybe it's not. Hey, Jack Campbell, go fly.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Jack Campbell, attack.
Okay.
Send him out like he's a pit bull.
Yeah.
One thing I said a couple of weeks ago, I thought that Alex Anzalone was going to be the leading sack guy for this point of the season onward, because they need to blitz linebackers, they need to blitz corners, they need to show different looks for this defense to be better.
Definitely.
And maybe Jack Campbell's the guy that you say, attack, get him, sick him.
Use them in a different way.
Right where the quarterback's going to be in this game. Nick Mullins doesn't have the legs that the Lions have seemingly run into with the quarterback every single week. They're dodging Josh Dobbs, the more mobile quarterback on that roster. So you're right. Nick Mullins is going to be right there in the pocket. It's going to be important to make him uncomfortable.
Let's get into the wide receivers here to round this out.
This is
Obviously,
fun.
Jefferson and Addison versus St. Brown and J-Mo.
Ooh.
I mean, what
How about
pair
that?
are you more excited to watch today, if you can choose?
Well, I'm always more excited to watch J-Mo and Amon-Ra St. Brown. But that duo in Minnesota, they're very talented. And Justin Jefferson being hurt a lot of this year has opened up the door for Jordan Addison to get not just a big role in this offense, but to gain some confidence with Kevin O'Connell calling plays. So they're fun to watch. And Justin Jefferson is arguably the best receiver in the NFL when healthy. They both fit their teams. There's something special about Amon-Ra St. Brown with Ben Johnson and Jared Goff in this offense, and Justin Jefferson with those Vikings. It's going to be, to me, the key. What does Jordan Addison and Jameson Williams do? I think, like Terry said earlier in the show, they got to keep targeting J-Mo. I'm not saying he has to catch all 8 balls, but just targeting him opens up so much, especially when you have a blitzing defense. Having them have to focus on the outside, have to worry about J-Mo's game-changing speed, that's everything. Catches are a bonus. That's what we want to see too. But just having those targets is huge, huge. What do you think, Terry, about the wide receiver matchup?
I'm excited about Jefferson because we didn't get to see him for a long periods of time. Plus, if he breaks one, we get to see the gritty.
That's true.
Right.
That's true. I haven't seen that since Jake Wallman, the Red Wings, did the gritty a couple weeks ago.
And it's just not the same on skates.
No.
But
I wonder how it will look on his bobblehead, though.
Oh, that's right, the bobblehead.
His bobblehead is going to be doing the gritty.
The Justin Jefferson bobblehead
No,
today?
no. Wallman's bobblehead will be doing the gritty. Yeah.
Hey.
So we'll see how that
I haven't
compares. Not
seen
on
that.
skates,
and
but
I'm into bobbleheads now.
yeah.
But, here's the other thing. We're talking about blitzing and being aggressive and everything. If you target J-Mo 8 times, he catches 6, and you're blitzing, he gone.
Gone.
See ya.
Bye.
Right.
Merry Christmas.
And that is the thing about having elite speed. There's a lot of speedy people in the NFL, but I'm talking about elite speed. You get them in the right package. We were talking about guessing. If you guess right, hit J-Mo, I don't care if it's a bubble screen or whatever, he gone.
Yeah. Just get it in his hands.
And I'm gonna take this segment and get it in my hands and throw it to the next segment because we'll be coming back and talking about what is to come for the Lions, for the playoff prospects. What's to come? Stick with us, and we're gonna cover it in the next segment.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com. Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
Good morning, Lions fans. Welcome back to your Lions Insider Show here on Woodward Sports Network, Woodward and Main Street. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips. Alongside me, Matt Broder and Terry Foster, who has a special message today on his shirt for all of you out there.
If you can see it, I'm doing it for the hoes.
Oh.
I tried to outdo Terry, and once again, he just completely outdoes it.
Wait till I steal that jacket.
Unintentionally.
Before the end of the show.
What's to come? That's this segment, but you got to stick around to see what's to come in the next segment too. But let's get into what's to come for the Lions. A lot on the line today, but let's now look ahead. Matt.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to use Terry's words here. Wimpy Matt.
Ha ha ha.
Are you still wanting the Lions to rest players if they beat the Minnesota Vikings today?
Until again, I don't remember ever officially saying.
I knew he was gonna say. We know good and damn well he said that. Now he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. What?
So, regardless, if they until their seed is completely set, until there's no chance at the number 1 seed, you can't think about resting players. If there's still a chance to move up in the playoff seedings, you do that. You have to. If you need to go in and make a statement in Dallas, you got to have your players play. This is why what makes a good head coach in the NFL, these decisions. It'll be tough if they clinch the 2 seed and that's where they're set. To me, the number 1 most important thing in the playoffs is having your offensive line healthy. Mm-hmm. So whatever it takes to have those 5 guys healthy for round 1 of the playoffs, whatever seeding that is,
can I ask you a question, Matt?
You can.
Are you taking a political class? No. You sound like a politician now.
But is it not true? Like that offensive line needs to be healthy. I'm not a fan of resting players, but the key to this team, this team, the key, if they're healthy, they're 5-0 with the fully healthy offensive line. Like this team, they ride or die with the strength of that offensive line. So I don't. This is tricky. It's what do you do? What would you do?
Do not take your foot off the gas.
No matter what.
No matter what. I mean, if you can't get a number 2 seed, if you can't obtain something better, then yeah, you do it at that point. But right now, the Lions have a shot at a number 2 seed. I'm not thinking about number 1. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking this from this standpoint. I'm a playoff guy. All right? It doesn't matter what happens in the regular season. It's how you set yourself up for the playoffs. So if you have a shot at the number 2 seed, if you feel you can go into Dallas and win, then if you get the number 2 seed, guess what? You don't have to play anybody in their stadium except San Francisco.
It's pretty nice out there.
Right. But if you're at Ford Field for the entire playoffs, I think the Lions could beat everybody except San Francisco. If the Lions just play their first round game at home and then everything else is on the road, I think they can lose to every team that they would have to play. It would be Philadelphia, Dallas. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could. So that's what I'm looking at.
You need that second round. That second round home field advantage is huge.
Right.
So if they have it all locked up, are you locked up heading into Week 18 against the Vikings and there's nothing on the line? Would you put your starters out there for a quarter or a half, something to just stay in rhythm, and then pull them, assuming there's no injuries or nothing bad happen, pull them in the second half, let Teddy Two Gloves go finish out the regular season?
I'd play him a little bit because I've seen when starting lineups don't play for 2 or 3 weeks, and then if you ask them to play a regular season game, they'll be fine. But if you ask him to play with the intensity that's needed to win a playoff game, then you're in trouble. So yeah, I would sprinkle him in because I still want to win that home game at Minnesota. It's just a psychological thing. Mm-hmm. But I don't think you can pull your guys for 2 weeks and say, okay, here's the biggest game of the season. Go get them. No, you got to have a little funk, a little rust, a little sweat on you. So that's just my philosophy.
Fair.
So what wild card team would you want the Lions to play? Looking ahead.
Honestly, I'll take them all.
Really?
There's not much difference. I mean, if you were to match it up, I'd try to find just who's playing the worst. The worst football leading into the playoffs. Like if the Buccaneers make their way in, that would mean they finished this season. They look pretty good right now. Mm-hmm. They finished their season super hot. A hot team heading in the playoffs. Maybe it's Matthew Stafford. He's playing really well right now. Mm-hmm. Whatever team is the coldest, I should say, would be the best matchup. But honestly, the Lions, their offense can hang with anybody, and it's just about their defense showing up, and that's huge. They especially at home when the crowd can get behind them. I'm less worried about that defense, but yeah, bring them all.
Kelly Stafford mentioned it this week.
This is easy. Here's what I look at when we talk about playoff games. Entertain me. Mm-hmm. You have to entertain one person in the world, and that's me. So I want the LA Rams coming into Ford Field.
Yeah.
Because I want to hear about Matthew Stafford, how he played here. I love chaos.
Yeah.
I want to see Kelly Stafford popping off. And
She was already talking about it. She was talking about it on our podcast like 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago, came out and was just like, obviously this would be so cool to be able to go back to Detroit, but I would like it under any other circumstances than what it could be with us going back there for a playoff game and like how much that would be. But she was like, yeah, I'd want to go and see all, you know, all the Fords and that whole family and Martha and see everyone and shake some hands and maybe grab lunch. I'm like, wow.
Okay,
Yeah.
Taylor Swift.
I think she liked it here. Detroit
Yeah.
was very good to the Stafford family.
For sure.
They got paid a lot of money, and he didn't win anything here. And we still wore our little stupid, well, some people still wore the little stupid Detroit Ram t-shirt.
Yes.
So he's still loved by some people here, but he's hated by people here too.
But what a full circle narrative that would be.
Oh, yeah.
If that happened. I mean, that's if the NFL is scripted,
That would be the
I
worst.
think that would be the script right there.
Yes, that would be the most entertaining. But if Matthew Stafford can't win a playoff game in Detroit, can't lead the Lions to a playoff win in his tenure, and then comes back and knocks them out of the playoffs for the first time as a Rams quarterback.
Hey, let's have some positivity here. I know we haven't reached the optimism and pessimistic segment, but you're really pessimistic over there.
No,
what
no,
if
he's
he
just
comes
saying
into
if.
Detroit and still doesn't win a playoff game?
Then that would work out in favor of the Lions for sure. That's what the movie would be great.
Yes.
Having Stafford in Detroit for a playoff game, you know, looking back in 20, 30 years, the Lions Super Bowl run, having this story kick off the playoffs would be huge. But there's a little bit of magic surrounding Matthew Stafford, especially at this very moment. That's a little worrisome. I don't worry about the Rams as a team, but the playoffs are when magic happens, and you just can't trust that.
Here's what's going to happen. Here, I'm going to put your mind at ease. If the Rams come in here, Stafford's going to play his ass off. He's going to pass for 300 yards. He's going to get like 2 or 3 touchdowns. But the first drive in the third quarter, he'll throw a pick.
Third quarter, even though the Lions haven't played well in the third quarter.
Yeah, but
Okay.
this is what Stafford does.
Okay.
He'll get the pick in the third quarter, and it will stunt any momentum that they have. So your team will still win, but I'm going to get what I want: entertainment and chaos. That's all I want. Give me that.
Have you already started writing your article? Prep
Yeah.
that Stafford returns.
And my first word: chaos.
Chaos.
Chaos. Also throw in that article that Kelly Stafford did say that she would want to sit in the same box that they used to sit in
Sorry.
for his games. I wonder who has that box now. Maybe the Hutchinsons.
The Hutchinsons have it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna move him out.
Yeah.
He's not going anywhere.
Or Goff's fiance and dog.
No, it's Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Golf haven't earned that yet.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
That's a
Probably
hot
in the
take,
box.
right?
He's probably in the box next door.
That's a pretty hot take to round off this segment.
Yeah.
Goff hasn't earned a box yet.
Obviously, there's a lot to come, including another segment here of Woodward and Main Street, but we're going to get back to what's at hand today for the Lions taking on the Vikings. Stick with us, and we will be right back.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Catch Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com. Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune in to the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Welcome back. This is Woodward and Main Street. I have gone full Christmas because we're reaching the end of the episode on Christmas Eve, and there's only one way to close it out. And I'm, trying to step up my game to keep up with Terry because he does it for the hosts.
For the hosts.
Hosts.
Yeah. Thank you, Terry.
Yeah, right.
No way, no shot. But as always, we end this show on game days covering our pessimistic, our optimistic, and of course, our game score predictions. So even though it's Christmas Eve, there is nothing new here. So let's get into any of the pessimism that you're feeling today. You're waking up with a little coal in your stocking kind of feeling.
I always fear teams that for the following week after they blow somebody out, particularly in December. Maybe I think the Lions at times haven't been mentally focused for certain games. And now they killed Denver. They shut up all the yapping dogs here in Detroit. That maybe there's a letdown. Because they know, despite what Dan Campbell says, this is a dangerous ball club and they're defending NSC, they know Minnesota's garbage. Garbage team. So they got that in the back of their mind, but you can't play like that. You got to pretend that Minnesota is San Francisco, the Baltimore Ravens, or somebody like that. So that'd be my only fear. But they should win this damn game.
They should. But when they've struggled, it's been when teams have blitzed Jared Goff and he hasn't been able to take care of the football, hasn't been able to get that offense in a rhythm, hasn't been able to get that run game going, which throws off everything Ben Johnson wants to do. And that's what Minnesota does well. That's what Danielle Hunter with his 15.5 sacks. I believe he's second in the NFL behind TJ Watt. That's what he does. Whether it's rushing 3 or rushing 6, Danielle Hunter's there, and he's coming for Jared Goff's head. So that offensive line, although healthy, they got their work cut out for them with one of the best edge rushers in the league.
Well, you know how you blunt that? I have not been asked my opinion on the 15 scripted plays, but one of those needs to be an end around to JMO. Just to slow these guys down a little bit and then put in the back of their mind that, okay, we're not careful, this guy's going to burn us again.
That's smart.
So that's one of the plays I'd have in my first 15 scripted.
I like that. One
of those.
Look for the JMO end around in the first 15 plays.
And know that Terry put that into place.
You know what Jared Goff does well? He disguises it well, too.
Yep.
I know we make fun of him and there's a little noodle arm, but he disguises that end around pretty well.
He does.
And I think some of them, like a little pass, he'll get it and he'll just go, psh. So
get those passing stats.
Pass.
Yeah, get those passing stats up.
Right.
That's what the Chiefs did the other day. Anyways.
I have a little personal pessimism for the game because, 1 o'clock game, Christmas Eve. I have a family luncheon at my great-grandma's house, 98 years old.
Oh.
Fantastic lady. Only negative there is that there is no working TVs in her house.
Oh, man.
So I will be bringing the laptop and the hotspot.
Let's go.
And
NFL Plus.
We will be trying to get the game any way possible because I'm not the only one.
Going to the local bar, have bourbons and lions on Christmas Eve.
Oh, no.
Is that what you're doing?
No. I'm going to be in my basement.
Man cave.
In the man cave. Eating maybe some pre-Christmas Eve meals for lunch.
I'll steal some. My wife has this whole meal planned out for Christmas. I'm going to steal some of that food.
Nice.
Oh.
Nice.
I'm sure that will go out so well.
Hey, it's the Lions Christmas Eve, and she's stunned that they're 10-4. She'll leave me alone.
Okay. All right, let's get to some optimism here because it is Christmas Eve after all, and we have to bring the Christmas spirit about us with some optimism. Matt, do you want to kick this one off?
Smiling's my favorite. I will, and I want to stay on the offense and talk about all the weapons they have to outduel the defensive pass rush. I'm going to go to the Lions defense, and I
love that.
I'm going to target Aiden Hutchinson. It's time.
Please do.
It's time. He's had a better season than people give him credit for, but we're all looking for those sacks. Brian O'Neill, the Minnesota Vikings starting right tackle, he's likely out. He's questionable. And they do have a pretty solid backup in, I think it's David Quisenberry. But this has got to be one of those games where Aiden Hutchinson breaks out. He knows where Nick Mullen's going to be at all times in that pocket. You don't have to worry about him scrambling. He's getting help now, too. Kaminsky's stepping up. Irvin's stepping up. Maybe we see Tyson Alualu in this game. This is one of those games. it's time for Aiden Hutchinson to get 2, maybe 3 sacks. I think that could be a difference maker in the game. That will be a difference maker if he does that for sure.
I'm jumping right in there because I think after seeing the Lions' defensive performance the last game, they seem to have finally clicked into place a little bit here, and not everyone was calling for Aaron Glenn's head after the end of that game. So yeah. I think if they can keep on that same roll, that is my reason to be optimistic for today's win.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
And why did people not call for Aaron Glenn's head? Because he surprised you. He had mixed in a little bit of aggressiveness and passiveness. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing that I think he needed to do with this defense. Guys want to be aggressive on defense. And Aaron Glenn fell into the trap that a lot of defensive coordinators with the Lions do. They come in, we're going to be aggressive. We're going to go right after them. We're going to bust their chops, and we're going to do what we do. Then they're like, okay, maybe we need to be a little bit more conservative. We'll be passive. We'll be blunt, bend but don't break and all that crap. I hate that. And I think he did a little bit too much of that. Mm-hmm. So now maybe the Lions are like, okay, this is December. This is when you have to play winning football if you're a championship caliber team. Let me have trust in my guys, because I keep talking about how much I trust them.
Yeah.
But I don't play them as if I trust them. So if they do that, then
W.
They should. And we won't be talking about the Lions defense. Man, we talked about the Lions defense like a dog, almost like we did about the Pistons. Mm-hmm. So,
and they've just been there steady. They haven't been perfect, but they've been a little steady force there. They got some things that they got to clean up, and they have some vulnerabilities for sure. But they've had a better season than people have given them credit for. It's now time you get into the playoffs, so you got to keep stepping it up. So that's what Aaron Glenn has on his plate.
That is true. But I got bad news for Lions fans out there. This defense is never going to look great. Because, and the main reason is the NFL, they don't want a 10-7 playoff game. They don't want 10-7 games down the stretch. So the rules are bent in the offense's favor. So even if you make great defensive plays, you're going to see roughing the passer. You're going to see holding on the secondary. You're going to see a whole bunch of bogus calls. Well, then I shouldn't say bogus, but they're going to be calls that we look at. So what the hell did we call that for? But they want offense to be supreme in this league.
Oh, yeah.
So the Lions' defense, San Francisco's defense, Philadelphia's defense is never going to be what fans want that defense to be.
Well, let's see if our optimism and pessimism now will reflect in our game scores here. So if you could, Mr. Kool-Aid, get that game score up. Ding! The Lions at Vikings score predictions, Christmas edition. Nice little lights added to the graphic there because, it is Christmas. It is Christmas. All right.
You know what we're doing? Oh, I like the lights.
Oh, thanks. Festive. I will kick things off. I am going with the Lions win 27-17. And I think I might have the biggest score win difference here on the
but we're all in the same neighborhood though.
Very close.
Thinking the same.
Very close game. I think this is going to be the game that you were talking about previously, Terry, where it's going to be a bit of back and forth that we're going to see. I think Lions fans might be on the edge of their seat for most of Christmas Eve.
I don't think it's going to be back and forth. I think the Lions are always going to be in control.
Okay.
But the Vikings are going to be like one play away from either turning around the momentum or maybe being able to tie the game or go ahead. So it's going to be a little bit of a nail biter. But I don't think it should be. I think the Lions should just kick their ass. Minnesota's
I love
not that good. And plus, I know Minnesota has stuff to play for, but the Lions have more to play for because they're trying to get history going on here. They're trying to get on the roll so that, and I'm getting greedy with this team. I said at the beginning of the season, win the division and win a playoff game.
Yep.
Now they need to be thinking, win the division and put ourselves in position to win at least 2 playoff games.
Yes.
They need to get
like
to
that.
San Francisco and see what they can do against those boys.
Jared Goff had talked about this checklist that they have when he was on Tim 21's podcast this week, and he said that they want to check off winning the division off of that checklist. That is what they are worried about right now. So I'm curious to see if, how many playoff wins are on that checklist after.
They're not going to tell us.
No.
Because, it's all one game at a time. All we're focused on is the Minnesota Vikings. That's what they're telling us. But on that checklist, I'm sure the San Francisco 49ers are on that checklist.
I
would hope so.
They got to be.
And Matt, where are you going with your score prediction for today? Break it down for us.
I'm right there, 27-21. And for a lot of the same reasons Terry said. I think the Lions should win this game. They should win it big. But Minnesota plays everybody a one-score game. I just couldn't get that out of my head when I was trying to think about how this game might turn out. It might be the Lions have a 27-10 lead in the fourth quarter, but they find some way to come back. I do think the Lions will be in control, but Minnesota, they always find a way to make it a close game. And I don't think they're going to let that happen. I don't think they're going to let a blowout happen at home with so much on the line.
No, and I know this is your pessimism segment, but I need to say this now. Be careful of a fourth quarter Lions turnover that allows Minnesota to get a little bit closer than they should be.
That's a good point. You got to hang on to the ball. Jared Goff has to control the ball, and they got to hang on to it.
Terry, can you break down your score for your Lions win today?
Yes. I think the Lions will have success against that blitz. I think they're smart enough we're going to see some little plays. I know Matt talked about Minnesota doesn't give up big plays. Lions don't need big plays to win this game, but they need to get that 12, 13 yards on the bubble screens to the wide receiver. And you know what? I'm shocked at all of us. I'm disappointed in all of us. You know we haven't mentioned today?
Who?
The running backs just pounding Minnesota on occasion.
How dare we?
Not for 60 minutes or 30 minutes, however long, but on occasion when it's like, okay, fellas, let's just control some clock and get these guys out of here. So the Lions still have that on their side. So when you talk about trying to speed up Jared Goff, when you talk about trying to speed up Ben Johnson, it doesn't have to be that way, because this team is built on running. And I know we're excited about St. Brown. We're excited about Sam Laporta. We want to see Jared Goff in his ball. But the bottom line, this team is meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
And sometimes the meat potatoes, you don't even put salt on there. You just, on occasion, you switch up the game. And even though Minnesota's trying to get you to go fast, say screw it. We're going to run down this clock. We're going to run this football, and the hell with you.
Yeah, and that neutralizes Minnesota's strength, too.
Sure.
You're going strength on strength, and the Lions have proved that when that happens, their offensive line, that running game, can still dominate or can still be the stronger of the two on any given day. So if you do that, it neutralizes a lot of what Minnesota wants to do on defense. So I'm with you. Pound the rock. Pound it.
All right, Matt, let's round the show out.
I'm not singing.
No.
Don't scare
We're not going there.
You're not going
We're
there.
not going there. But I have to know if the Lions are going to play a complete game today. Yes, they may have played one already this season, but will they continue that streak against the Vikings today?
You know what? Yes. 27 means there's a field goal involved, and that means Michael Badgley's hitting one. He's going to hit a field goal over 45 yards today.
Okay.
And that means we're going to play a complete football game, all levels, all units.
Everyone is firing on all cylinders.
That's twice in a row, almost.
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned Mr. Badgley. I'm kind of wondering if the fact that he is now their kicker is going to change the mentality of Dan Campbell. Maybe Dan Campbell, quote unquote, gambled in certain situations because he didn't have faith in his kicker making a longer field goal. Now Badgley can hit him from 52, 53. In the National Football League this year in particular, if somebody's lining up for a 53, 54-yard field goal, I expect him to make it.
Yeah.
Except for the Lions. Now maybe the Lions join the rest of the league and Badgley can hit that 53-yard field goal.
Yeah. For me, I want someone who can just consistently. I mean, I would love the 50+, but the way it's been, and as long as he can make 40 through 50, almost guaranteed, I'm cool with that. But we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, it doesn't come down to a kick. But the Lions are here. This offense, it's going to be a good day for the offense.
It will be, and hopefully we're talking about a Lions win on Tuesday morning, 7 a.m., because it is always better to talk about a Lions win than a Lions loss. That's all we have for you here this morning on Woodward and Main Street. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, Terry Foster.
Oh.
Thank you for kicking off your Christmas Eve with us. We hope you all have a safe one and that Santa brings you all that you want, including a Lions win under your tree on Christmas morning. A Victory Monday Christmas edition.
Wow.
Ooh, that would be nice, hey?
That would be the best Victory Monday, a NFC North title on Christmas morning. Yup. Let's go.
We'll see you here on Tuesday, 7 a.m. Merry Christmas.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.